Hey friends, this is Grace and welcome to my channel and welcome to a new series here in my YouTube channel. I was going through my Pinterest and trying to get inspiration, and I realized that I've pinned so many things as far as getting using inspiration or inspiration that I had planned on or wanted to use for my layouts, but have never really gotten around to it. I even have albums or I don't know what they're called now, but the albums within Pinterest that I have broken them down into. So I'm taking 10 of those albums, picking one inspiration from each one, and then making a layout out of it. So my first inspiration is a what I call from my album called Inspiring Pages. This is basically pages, layout pages that have inspired me and that I wanted to either recreate, or there's some elements within that page that I wanted to do. Now I am going to be adding the inspiration for this particular layout on a blog post. Yes, I'm trying to relive my blog, and I'm going to put that link in the description box below. I'm also going to add a link to my Pinterest boards. Oh yeah, that's what it's called. Pinterest board, so you can look at all of the other inspirations that I have there. And if you're so inclined, you can follow me on Pinterest and also look onto my blog. Anyways, the inspiration has 8 squares and then some photos, and it's actually a digital layout, but I really like how the papers were assembled on the right side of the paper, and then the photos on the left side. Now my photos are oriented to be vertical instead of horizontal like the inspiration. So I'm flipping the sketch or the inspiration for no 90 degrees, so that I can have these squares of paper on the top and then the photos on the bottom. I thought that that was a good kind of way to still use the inspiration, but it will fit the orientation of my photos. Now these photos they were actually taken on Christmas time, and I just realized it after the fact that I have made this layout. So it has a fall theme, but really the photos were taken during Christmas, but it's okay. So the photos are just me and my daughter, and we were rolling some lumpia. If you are Filipino or you know of a Filipino person, our egg rolls are called lumpia. So there's different variations to it. The one that we make has ground pork and some veggies, and then we wrap it with some rice paper, and then we fry it. So it's a really popular dish that I make. My friends love it so much that they ask me to make them, and once a year for Christmas, we do what we call a friend Christmas party. Instead of Friendsgiving, we do a friends Christmas party, and we invite a couple of families in our area, and we have a Christmas get together with them. And then I serve Filipino food, which includes the lumpia and then some other things. And then everybody else can bring a side or a dessert. I usually make give assignments to people, and then including with that get together is we also do a live nativity scene with the kids. So it's so much fun. But this is the part where we were rolling the egg roll so that it'll be ready for our get together, because that's the thing. The most time consuming part of the egg rolls is you have to roll them one by one. It's kind of like you know how Hispanics have tamales and they take a long time, and then like Chinese, they have their dumplings. So we all have that thing that takes us a long time. Or like Italians, when they make their homemade pasta sauce and they take forever. So anyways, that is a little bit of our tradition that we do here at home. Now again, I had put in or picked some fall colors just just because I was looking at that tablecloth that I have there, and I had a runner that had the fall stuff, so I thought it was still fall, but it still worked well with the colors of my photos. I have a lot of reds. My daughter and I were wearing red hued shirts and sweaters. And then, of course, our tablecloth was brown. And so I felt like these papers would work well. I started off with 6x6 paper pad, and it worked well, especially with those papers on the top, because I wanted them in square, and so they needed to be in a smaller size, and so the designs were a little bit smaller, so it worked perfectly. I did use some scraps as well in my fall bag. I know you noticed that I've been grabbing this plastic bag because I put all of my fall themed products there, because it's just easier for me when I always have to create something fall related. So I had just put them all in one bag, so it would be easy for me to use them up over and over again. And I do that for all seasons. I have one for 4th of July. I have one for Christmas, and then I have some of the common things or common themes that we scrapbook, like Valentine's and birthday and things like that. So I do have one horizontal photo, and I'm just gonna stick that onto the top. I could have trim that down a little bit and put it in that panel or the row where I have my vertical photos, but I wanted a space where I can put my journaling block, and that's just a regular pocket card and then I also rounded the corners. That was something that the layout also had, was rounded corners, and so I thought that I would do that. One thing too that was added, now even though the inspiration was a digital one, you can still see a lot of layers on it, and one of the things that created the layers were some strings or some twine, and so that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm gonna try to find some thin enough twine that I can wrap or put over some of the blocks, and so that will add some texture to it. I'm not going to wrap it because then it'll be really bulky on the back, so I'm just going to tape it on one end and then grab the other and then tape the other end on that side to make it seem like it's wrapped around, but it's really is not. It's just, I've just been doing it this way because when I started, I wanted to save every little product that I have, and so this is kind of just like second nature to me. I know I don't need to anymore, but it also cuts down on the bulkiness of the layout, and so I like that, doing that as well. And I'm going to tie a knot to this one, of course, to finish it off, and then I'm going to do the same thing in I can't remember if I was doing it in 3 different blocks, but I know I'm going to at least do it in 2 different blocks. And then I have to put a little bit of glue on that because it wasn't sticking there. And then I'm going to set that aside so that it will glue, and then I'm going to find another one to do the same thing because I want to have a balance in my layout. So I try to do something on the left, and then I got to do that on the right as well. So another thing that I love about this layout inspiration is that it's so easy to replicate. You can use this with scraps. You can use it, of course, with a brand new paper pad. Especially with the paper pad, because you know that all of the papers would work well together. And then, of course, like what I did, I modified the way I had laid out the products based off of the photos that I have. So of course, if you have horizontal photos, then you can do exactly the same way as the inspiration, where photos are left and then the papers are on the right, or like in my case, you can do it photos on the bottom and then papers on the top. And you can even flip it 180 degrees where photos are on the top and the papers are on the bottom. It's a very easy to use the design over and over again. You just need to flip it in every 90 degrees. Now on the layout, it seemed like it had a bunch of different strips of paper as a border on the left side. And so I'm going to use just one border, and that's where my title is going to be stored at. And then for my title, I am going to use a combination of various stickers because I feel like that would create some interest to my layout when I have different kinds of fonts and also different kinds of colored letter stickers. It also adds to the design. Okay, so now we're going to go on to basically adhering it. I did ink up the edges of the paper strips and also the paper blocks just to make it stand out a little bit more. As you can see, I am working with fall themed colors, so that worked really well for me because then I know that the colors all work well together. And if I ink up the edge of using brown ink for one paper, it will blend really well with the background and all of the other papers because it has brown as well. And I did use my T-square ruler to put that first block, or I should say strip of paper, just to make sure that I am lining it up really well, because once this is glued, it's going to be the base of the title, and I don't want it to be wonky. And then I'm going to adhere my my squares. Now I did trim out my brown paper to make it smaller so I can have that blue paper as the background. And so now my square, or sorry, my brown background paper is now 11.5 by 11.5 square. And so the papers, these blocks of papers, I think I cut them 2.75, 2 3/4, or maybe 2 5/8. I can't quite remember, but I know that I cut them all the same size, and then they fit perfectly with a little bit of that brown background paper peeking through the in between them, which I really like. I know this is a very like grid design, it's very blocky, but I think that's why rounding the corners work really well, because then you have a little bit of some curve lines, and it's not a very blocky, not quite blocky design. Okay, so now that I have that, now I'm going to adhere my last photo, and then I'm actually going to adhere that with some foam adhesive just to make that pop out against the background, because there's a lot of paper in that background, and I wanted to make sure that I am making that stand out. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to build the title. And my title will be passing on the tradition or something like that. I can't remember, and the layout's not in front of me. But it's going to be a combination of different letter stickers. And another thing that I had wanted with this particular series is, of course, I wanted to use up my stash, and so I didn't bother buying anything new. I just made sure that I am making sure that I pull out products that would work good with whatever theme I was working with. And obviously, with all of the stuff that I've accumulated over the years, I have plenty, and I have enough to work with. So these layouts that I'm going to be creating, I like them. I really like how they turned out, but they are not using new products. So forgive me if you come to this channel and you notice that there's nothing, like no new product. That is not the purpose of this channel. This channel is mainly to inspire you to pull out your own supplies and to make something with it. It's mostly for inspiration and also sharing. I have loved having this YouTube channel because it gives me a platform to share my work. But at the same time, I have my own, like, I make my own rules. Like, nobody, I mean, you guys would give me ideas on what to do next, but at the end of the day, I'm not constrained by parameters that were given to me by other entities, which I really appreciate, especially coming from many years of being part of design teams. That was something that I was fortunate enough to be a part of in the heyday of scrapbooking. Was I was part of a few design teams, and I was also scrapbooking for magazines. And as much as that is fun, I really love this type of platform because then I make my own rules. I can do a series if I want to. I can, share with you what I have made by scrap lifting. It's still providing me a way to be inspired by other people, but at the same time, I don't have like XYZ that's the only parameters that I can do. And if I do want XYZ as parameters, I had set those parameters and not somebody else. So anyways, enough of my rambling. I am handwriting my journaling. I know this is going to be new for me for this series because if you've been watching for a while, you know that I like to prep a lot of the process of my scrapbooking, and that's part of that is mass typing my journaling so I can just cut and then paste those blocks. But I really felt like I need to just kind of figure out what my layout is going to be and then incorporate my journaling to those types of design instead of adding pre-prepared blocks of journaling. I will still have journaling that's pre-typed here and there just based off of the photos that I have, but for the majority of the layouts in this series, they will be handwritten. Either handwritten as you can see here that I'm doing, or I would write it off camera and then I would just add that handwritten part there. And so that is the journaling block. I've already written it, and I'm trying to think, why am I dilly-dallying on the title? I'm not sure, but now I'm going to tackle it. And again, I'm going to create it with various different types of letter stickers. This is very old. This company doesn't exist anymore, but I was in their design team, and I've hung on to their products, especially the letter stickers, because I find that the fonts are very very generic enough that I can use it in multiple different kinds of layouts. Okay, so now I have peeled off all of that tiny foam stickers onto that photo, and so I'm gonna go, and that's gonna go there, and then I'm also going to stamp my date. This is something that I have been trying to be consistent and create a habit with writing or adding the date to my layouts because it helps me a lot when I am starting to put them away. I do not scrapbook chronologically. I mean, I try to scrap photos that's within that year at least, so that I'm not too scattered all over the place. These photos are from 2020. And so that's kind of what the year that I'm working on, but it's not necessarily that I start from January. I work, January to then February and then March and so on and so forth. I don't do that just because I feel like that kind of stifles my creativity because, like, what if I want to do summer and I'm still in the previous layout I just did was a January layout. Like I don't want to confine myself in that. But when I do put away my layouts, they are chronological order. So I need to make sure that I have dates so that I can put them in the right location. So that's why dates are very important to me, because then otherwise, and this has been what I've experienced in the past, the main reason why I'm trying to start this new habit is that I would get ready to sort them out, and I would notice half or maybe 75% of my layouts don't have dates, and so I have to go back on my computer and then find all of these layouts or photos and then date them. So it's an extra step at the end that I'm trying to make sure that I don't have to do if I don't need to. So as you can see, I am doctoring some of these letter stickers in order for it to fit my long title. And that's fine with me. I feel like if it's possible to doctor a layout, I would rather do that so I can use up some letter stickers. You can see this October Afternoon Pink stickers. I've had that for many, many years. And then this other blocky letters, I've had this for many years as well. I'd rather use them if I have to doctor one or two than just have them sitting in my stash not being used because I don't have all of the letters. And as you can see, I'm kind of mixing them up too because I know that I am not going to have enough room in that block. And I'm sorry, this is not sharp enough. I don't know what I was doing, but I had completed all of the title, and it just says passing the tradition to the next generation, which is very important for me. I want to be able to pass down some of the childhood traditions that I was born into and pass that along to my children. I feel like that's a good way for them to understand my culture and also, you know, of course, their dads when we incorporate some of his childhood traditions into our home as well. And so now is the fun part where basically I just decorate and find stickers. Again, everything is fall themed, even though it actually happened in December, but it's just gonna blend really well with all of the other products that I have used in this layout. But I'm just gonna find stickers and whatnot to work here, and some of them will be covering the squares of paper, but I'm okay with that because it just adds a little bit of interest to the layout. So that is my layout. You'll just watch me finish this off with a bunch more stickers. If you have any questions, let me know in the description box below. If you like these kinds of videos, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And also, my friends, if you are so inclined, share my channel to friends. I am growing this channel organically. Like, I don't do anything special to make me stand out there. It's all depends on who's watching and letting you, by clicking the subscribe button and the notify button, it lets the algorithm in YouTube know that I exist, and it will share some more of my layouts with you, and if you share with others, they will find me. So I hope you'll consider that. And again, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye now.